Two grown men, co-workers, football fans, zero expertise. Mike, George. Since there's nothing else on TV, sit back, relax, and see what happens when two guys who work at the cable company steal 30 minutes of local access time while no one is looking on a channel that nobody's watching. This is the Mike and George Experiment.
It's Friday night at 8 o'clock. This is the Mike and George Experiment. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, folks.
How are you doing, George?
I'm pretty depressed, Mike.
Yeah, sorry about
Trying
your
to keep
Chargers.
the Chargers. Well, so much for my rant
actually
last
thought-
week, though. It looked like it.
It looked,
did.
you know, they didn't score anything in the first three quarters. And then all of a sudden, they're in that game and they're knocking on the door to tie it up.
And then they decide in the fourth quarter to finally change what they've been doing for three quarters. It took them that long, and I think that was the big problem. I think it took them that long to get around to saying, hey, this isn't working, but it shouldn't take three.
It shouldn't take that long, but you know, it's like trying to shoot a moving target. It's always changing, but you've got to be able to adapt a little faster. I think.
That's right. It ended up being a good game, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't quite as upset as I thought I'd be. They played.
Well, they never gave up.
And that's what I liked. And I like the future. I look at people like Keenan Allen, who's probably going to be...
He's something else.
I mean, you know...
I'd be very excited about your team.
My only question is, what are we going to do? Which side are we going to draft on, the offense or the defense this year? Because we got some holes in the defense. We need some corner help. We would like to put somebody on the other side from Keenan Allen. If you had a top wide receiver over there, I think it'd be incredible. So I'm very, and the team is very excited. Everything I've read, they're sorry that they didn't make it, but they feel good about the direction they're heading. And they lost a coach, so that might, they lost Ken Wisenhunt. We're going to talk about where the coaches have gone. But, so I think
but how about
it's very
Mike
exciting.
McCoy, year one?
I love him. I love that guy. I watch I'll watch a press conference with him and stuff, and he just is.
He's something else.
He is. He just knows how to motivate his players, get them on the same page. Nobody thought the Chargers were going to do jack crap this year.
I've never watched HBO's series Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, yeah.
But if they covered San Diego,
well, there was some talk
really
of that.
watch
there
that.
was some talk about that, but I don't think they want to
yeah,
have that
teams
distraction.
Don't typically,
they don't want that distraction. So, but I'm very excited about the future. I'm excited about your team, actually.
The Redskins.
Yeah, I am.
Jay Gruden, new coach.
Jay Gruden, exactly.
Right.
I think that's the best thing that happened to that team is getting rid of Mike Shanahan.
It was time.
It was time. And to bring in Jay Gruden, although we talked about Jay Gruden last week and said, hey,
we did.
Andy Dalton's worst enemy, but yet he had like 3 or 4 teams that wanted him to be their head coach.
Right.
So he must have something going, and I think that bodes well for RG3. To have a brand new coach, and I'm pretty excited about that team too. So I think you get. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go into some stuff a little later.
Since we're talking about coaches, and we skipped over the college, why don't we mention that Penn State lost their coach, Bill O'Brien.
To the NFL.
Yeah, he's going to be the head coach for the Texans. Or he is now the head coach for the Texans. And that's really interesting, too, because they're going to have the first pick of the draft.
Right.
And,
Well, we were talking a little earlier about maybe picking up a new quarterback to take place of Schaub. And I think it's time for Schaub to move on.
I think so.
I agree. But the owner of the Texans is saying, hey, I'd love to have Clowney on the other side of Watt. So there's another huge. If you had a defense tandem like that, I think
need
that's
a quarterback
huge.
though.
Well, they do, and I agree. Unless they decide to stick with Matt Schaub
with the first pick of the draft, you can do a lot of things. You can trade that.
Yeah,
I mean, there are going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in the draft.
Sure. And we're going to talk about that a little later too. But we got some good quarterbacks that are coming out of college. It's exciting. I actually have chills. I mean, I'm excited.
This is going to be an interesting show. But why don't we break there, and we'll be back after these messages. Come back and we'll talk about the NFL.
Nickels,
Cheers.
nickels, nickels. Welcome back. It's great to have you with us this week. Mike, we got a couple, just to mention some college, so we keep that in our minds.
If you haven't gotten your fill of college football, there are a couple games.
We're going to give it to you.
This weekend. On Saturday is the East-West Shrine game. And then also the NFL PA Collegiate Bowl. And I'm assuming that's the NFL Players Association. Yeah. The American team against the national team. And I did some searching and couldn't find out anything on
North
either
Korea
one
against
except
South
the
Korea.
times. But, it's where they bring the college players
and the thing is, players can enhance the reputation and their draft worthiness by playing well and showing good there. And then the combine comes up, and, so I think that's something to watch.
And then the next weekend's the North-South game, the Senior Bowl, where it's all
the
seniors.
South.
But there was an alert today that A.J. McCarron will not be playing in that because he's going to be preparing. No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's one of my favorite college quarterbacks. So.
But he's preparing for the combine.
He wasn't even. Okay, he's not even. Yeah, okay. We got some discussion on that.
Real
that was
nice.
mean, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to some coaching changes in the NFL. A lot of interesting picks. A lot of weird picks and things where you thought one guy was going to go one way and ends up being with another team.
The Lions, Titans, Redskins, Texans, Bucks, Vikings, and Browns all needed new coaches.
Right.
And 5 of them have hired new coaches at the time of our taping here.
Right.
The Lions hired Jim Caldwell.
I think that's a terrible mix, but that's because Flacco took a step backwards with Jim Caldwell this year as his as an offensive coordinator. And that team, the Lions, cry out for a strong quarterback making presence, and I don't think that's Jim Caldwell personally.
You don't think he'll gel with Matthew Stafford?
I don't know. I just see Flacco kind of took a step backwards. I'm not. Of course, Wisenhunt was the favorite for.
Well, Wisenhunt went to the Titans.
Right, he went to Titans. That was very surprising because he was I think the Lions were the cream of the crop for teams to go to this year.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
Matthew Stafford. I mean, if he does well, that could be.
Well, how about the Texans?
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good team built. I mean, they're getting the first pick of the draft.
Right.
And, they have a lot of terrific talent on that team.
Right. Now, who do they go with?
The Redskins.
Right. But I think that's a good pickup. RG3, I think.
Jay Gruden.
I think RG3 could benefit under Jay Gruden.
What do you think about Bill O'Brien going from Penn State to the Texans?
I thought that was an interesting choice to get started with. What do you think? I don't know.
I'm excited about
it.
Are
you? Good,
I am.
Good. I just thought that they'd be looking for somebody a little more familiar and with some NFL experience. But, look, Chip Kelly came in and what he did for the Eagles this year.
Well, so, I think if he makes it his team, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. That's
you
what you have to do.
mentioned Bill O'Brien going to the Texans.
Right.
How about Lovie Smith?
I like that.
I like that too.
I like that a lot. And the people that he's brought in and stuff, I think that's going to be a good team.
And as you might suspect, the Vikings and the Browns haven't hired a coach yet.
And they may not. And they may not. They probably don't even care. Well, they don't even care.
Well, we had some NFL games this past weekend.
We did.
We did, and we talked about a little bit
about the depressing news.
There were 4 games.
4 games, yes, there were.
And I think I've got some information here. Oh, the Saints and the Seahawks. Seahawks won 23-15. None of these were really
They were good
blowouts.
games. All good games. Yeah, all good games.
I mean,
I picked the Saints.
The Pats and the Colts was pretty far apart.
Right.
But, you picked the Saints.
I picked the Colts.
And Matt and
I
selected the Seahawks. And Seahawks,
that was a wise idea in hindsight. Looking at Hines.
I selected the Patriots. Both you and Matt picked the Colts.
Well, I figured, after that comeback that they had, and after Andrew Luck looked like the second coming of Joe Namath or something,
it would carry over. Foxborough. Yeah.
But, you know what really impressed me?
What?
The Pats.
They were very impressive.
I can't believe they're that good. It's every time you think they're down, Bill Belichick goes into the laboratory and comes up with something,
The 49ers went to Carolina and beat the Panthers. That surprised me. You got that right. You nailed it. Matt and I both got that wrong. But the 49ers looked sharp.
They did.
They won 23-10.
And Kaepernick, he was pretty awesome. When he had to run, he ran. When he passed, the running game was really good there too. So
then we had the Chargers and the Broncos. Matt and I selected the Broncos.
And George picked the Chargers.
24-17.
Turned out to be a great game.
Turned out to be
a great game.
So I went 3 for 4. You went, and so did Ava, because we had the same picks.
Right.
You went 1 for 4. And Matt went 2 for 4. So I won the trio.
Wow.
Second time this year.
Let's give him a standing ovation.
Come back after these messages. We'll talk about some more football.
Hey, what a great idea.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, welcome
All right,
back.
George, we talked about last week's games.
I don't want to talk about them anymore.
Let's just talk about this week's games. There's 2. We're at the
huge games.
Conference Championships.
Right.
We're looking at the Patriots traveling to Denver to play the Broncos.
Dang.
I'll just tell you that Las Vegas has the Broncos favored by 4.5 points, and the over-under is 55.5 points.
Okay. All right.
Why don't you tell us
what Ava picked? You want to do Ava first?
Let's do Ava first.
Let's do Ava first. Well, Ava picked an interesting...
Ava's my niece, by the way.
In case you didn't know, if you've ever watched this show before, we get sick of hearing about it.
Ava's
a
sweetheart.
sweetie. She's right. You're right.
All right.
Okay.
Who did Ava pick?
Ava picked an upset. She goes for the Patriots over the Broncos. 31-24.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a very good upset. And in the second game...
Well, let's just cover the whole first game here.
Okay, let's do that.
Who did you pick?
No, I'm going to go with Matt first because I want a good laugh. Yeah, I want a good laugh.
All right. Matt. Matt picks a 44-44 tie.
All right. Good, Matt. Good. All right.
Good luck with that, Matt.
Okay, Matt.
I'll go next.
You can go next. Yeah, why don't you go next?
I'm taking the opposite of what Ava picked. I'm taking the Broncos 31, Patriots 24.
Wow. And that's a coincidence because you guys don't compare notes before the show or anything.
No, we don't.
Okay. Honest.
Who are you taking?
I'm taking the upset with Ava. Ava and I are going for the upset. I'm going Patriots 34, Broncos 27.
All right.
So just last week, watching the Patriots make those adjustments,
there's something else. You got to really hand it to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
And the Broncos, although the Chargers had a good game against them, I could see if they had done some things differently, they could have won that game. So I think Bill Belichick's going back to the lab and see what's on the slab.
All right. Let's go to the NFC.
Okay.
The 49ers are going to be playing in Seattle.
In Seattle. And Ava.
12th man.
Ava, the 12th man. 34 for Seattle. 49ers 28. That's where Ava's going. No upset.
That's interesting.
She's got that.
What
do you have?
I'm close. I took the Seahawks 24, 49ers 18.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Hers sounds like a better game, though.
Is
20 extra points.
Right. Matt
by the way,
another
the
44.
Seahawks are favored by 3.5, and the over-under, according to Las Vegas, is 39.
Well, then that's perfect, because I picked Seattle to win. Another 44-44 tie?
No. Okay. Matt is saying that the Seahawks are going to win, but the 49ers are going to score 14 points, and the Seahawks are going to score 1,076 points.
Okay,
Matt. Good luck with that, Matt.
I'd like to see it, Matt. I would like to see it, but it'll probably take 2 or 3 weeks. But I would like to see it. They're going to tie every week until they get to. Okay, gotcha. And I got the 3.5 points right, I think. I've got Seattle winning 28-24.
All right.
So there you have it.
Both of those
folks.
sound like better games than mine. Not as good as Matt's, but
Right. No, I'd rather see Matt's. I'd like to see the 44-44 tie.
Amazing game.
It's incredible. And Matt called it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Well, there we have it. I think we're up to date on the NFL. I'm going to have a little sip here.
You wanted to talk about going back to kind of like the coaching changes and what's going.
Right.
You had mentioned that you asked me what teams are going to see the most improvement.
Maybe have breakout years in the
either from the draft or new coaching or from coming back from injury. Why don't we hit that right when we come back?
Right when we come back in segment 4, unless we go over on segment 3. Welcome back, folks, to the Mike and George Experiment. It's good to see you. Hey, we have a little something to say about Matt real quick.
Yeah.
Him and his picks, by the way.
The Seahawks, I'd like to believe they could score 1,076 points, but I just did a quick calculation. And they would have to score 2.25 touchdowns every minute.
Every minute. You know what this shows?
It's going to be
Matt is an arrogant son of he's so far ahead now. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a crap what he picks. You got your money.
And that, I don't know where you find time for San Francisco to score 2 touchdowns, and you got to go for 2 every time and get it.
I love it.
I don't know.
I think he's probably going out on a limb on that. Yeah. I think so. Hey, let's go back to our teams in each division that will be doing well. How about the AFC East? What do you come up with on that?
Well, why don't you tell me what
I came up with Miami,
so that I
think. So you can go along with it or say no, Miami.
Miami?
That's what I'm going for in the East. AFC East. Who are you going with? And we don't have to discuss it over that.
Who cares? Who's going to do
God
better?
For this segment, folks.
I'll say Buffalo since they're in last place.
Okay. I think Miami. Okay, how about in the North, AFC North? It's a hard process of elimination. I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Well, I would love to say Cleveland had they hired a coach.
Yeah, and they're waiting so long. I mean, there isn't going to be any coaches left, so...
I think they have the 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah, they're doing pretty high.
So, are you going to get a quarterback? You need a quarterback.
Well, there's plenty of them. We know that.
Yeah.
Plenty of them. So
I saw one mock draft that had Cleveland picking up Johnny Manziel.
Oh, that would be a good pickup for them. South, you go first.
It's got to be Houston.
Got to be Houston. All right. And how about the West? San Diego.
I think San Diego.
I think they're going to be.
I'm going to put them ahead of Oakland because.
Oh yeah, I think so. I don't think
Oakland's
quite ready yet.
9-7.
You know, I don't think Oakland's quite ready yet. So, how about the NFC in the East?
Washington.
Your team, the Washington Redskins, or the Washington
Americans.
The Washington politically corrects.
The Redskins. I'm excited about their prospects
and that's
for
your
next
team.
season.
How about the North?
Again, I'd like to say Minnesota, but they haven't hired a coach yet.
Minnehaha, that's who I'm...
But that team is just stacked with talent.
Well, that's why Leslie Frazier had to go. You're right.
They've got no excuse.
You're right.
So take your time. You've taken this much time. Take all the time you need.
You're not going to win anyway. So, okay.
Get a good coach. You're going to have a decent draft pick. I'll go out on a limb with you, and I'll say the Vikings.
I think the Vikings, now that Leslie Frazier is gone, I think that's going to be... How about the South? I got Hotlanta coming back with a vengeance.
I'm going to say Tampa Bay.
Wow. Well, that's good.
I think
Lovie Smith's going to be huge for that. Lovie Smith's going to be huge for that.
But I want to see improvements all over that.
Yeah, that's not exactly...
Carolina, I'm disappointed at how they finished up.
Right. But they have a bright future, I think. They're. How about West?
Well, everybody did really well.
Except.
Well, they didn't have a winning record.
Yeah.
But I think they've got a good team. I think they're so close.
Right.
To being a contender.
Okay, Arizona. I'm saying Arizona.
All right.
Okay.
They went 10-6. So there you go. We better cover the email.
Let's cover the email.
Where's my email?
Let me just ask you one question.
All right.
San Francisco's Colin Kaepernick mocking Cam Newton's signature Superman act after a touchdown. Was that disrespectful or funny? What did you find it?
I think it can be both.
What did you find it though? Did you kind of say, well, that's kind of
I think it was a little bit arrogant. You were playing in Carolina.
Exactly.
That's
kind of how I felt about it. But it was at the same time.
Here the guy doesn't make good decisions. I mean, you could just take one look at him. He's got tattoos all over his body.
Right.
Have some class,
That's exactly kind of
a little bit of class is going to go a long way in the NFL.
It was a little bit funny, but I thought it was more disrespectful being in his house. So, okay.
Jason wrote, of the teams that have hired new coaches, who do you think made the best hire? Which of those teams have the best shot of being a contender next year?
Well, I did say something about Arizona, but actually, I have to agree with you on the Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith?
Lovie Smith on the...
It's a tough choice. It's a really good question, Jason. Thanks for sending that in.
And we have one more?
Just one to think about. Yeah. Should the Texans use the first pick or trade down for more picks, maybe adding first rounds this year and next year? I think that would be really smart, and it's probably tempting to go after the golden prize, but they do need defensive and offensive players.
They need quite a few things, but I don't think it's as much as people think. I think they do need quite a few things.
So sorry, we're out of time. We want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank our sponsors. If you want to send us an email, write to themgexp@gmail.com. You can catch our show on Facebook, on YouTube, and at altitude.tv. Just go there and click on About Us, and then click on Affiliate Corner, and there we are.
There we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a great football week. It's going to be a great one.
It is.
Conference championship weekend.
Championships.
Good luck to you and your teams. Thanks for tuning in.
No good luck to our teams. We're done.
Well, the Broncos are in. I like the Broncos.
Well, I want to root for the AFC West because they're in the deal. That's
right.
But
and you know what we didn't mention?
What didn't we mention?
It's going to be an old veteran quarterback against a sophomore, new up-and-coming quarterback, no matter what the combination is. It's either going to be Peyton